Well, hello there, Tenno, and welcome back to another little episode of Love Warframes. And today, as you can see, we are taking a look at the Warframe dealing glassy damage, our gal Gara. Before we get into it though, could you do me the highest of honours and consider liking, commenting and or subbing upon this video and channel, and I would be forever grateful to you. So you may be wondering, Coffee, why are we focusing on Gara all of a sudden? Well, I'm glad you asked. The reason is 2 to 3-fold. As I record this, Gara Prime is available via the Resurgence at Vazia Maru's Bazaar on Mars, and also earlier this year the pseudo exalted weapon Warframes all got a slight rework, and Gara happened to be in that very small pool of Warframes, and I have been working my way through them. And as you can see, I did a Korra and Atlas video separately, and do go and check them out, because I mean Atlas was amazing actually, and Gara was also one of my first primes, and I stuck with her for quite some time before I moved on, and I've rarely come back to her, but now is the time for a renaissance, and I am asking myself, is Gara a forgotten relic or a hidden gem? And in this video I'm going to delve into the glass heart of her abilities, remind myself of her strengths and weaknesses in the current gameplay situations, and find out if Gara deserves a spot in our Warframe arsenal. Now, if you didn't know, Gara was the 34th Warframe to be released back in October 2017, along with the Plains of Eidolon update. And the lore here tells us she is the second known Warframe to take part in the Sentient War, known as the Old War, and we were just talking about that in another video. Gara was a character who sacrificed herself and took out a massive sentient, shattering its remains across what would come to be known as the Plains of Eidolon. And if you want more of this lore, it's in your codex, I think, if you've collected it. Anyway, the sentient was broken and wanders still at nighttime, searching forlornly for its missing parts, aka the Eidolon. And if you want a Gara for your very own, you can do the Sayer's Vigil quest and get her main component blueprint, and then you can head off to Cetus and complete bounties there for a chance of receiving her blueprints from those. And if you want another copy of her for Helminth purposes or just funsies, her main blueprint is given to you by Cephalon Samaris in exchange for some of his standing, and you can find him at any relay. And obviously, if Gara is available on the Duviri circuit, then you can obtain her from there. You know, treat yourself. And Gara Prime was released on May 2021, and her signature weapons Astilla Prime and Volnus Prime were also released. She is the first Warframe to have 3 signature weapons, but they didn't release the Fusilier Prime with her primed version. I'm not sure why, maybe they just didn't fancy it. And she was vaulted in March 2023 and has been available since then through Prime Resurgence. She's available as I record and release this video up until the end of July 2025, but I'm sure she'll be back around at some point in the future, and you can always save up your platinums and buy a set from a fellow Tenno. And let's take a quick look at her abilities. Her passive, a chance to create a radial blind lasting 10 seconds when Gara casts abilities, which basically means your enemies are going to be staggering around and not being able to see you. Useful. And her first ability is Shattered Lash. Lash out with streams of shattered glass or hold for arcing strikes. Stats are boosted by the equipped mods on Shattered Lash. To be clear, this is now her exalted weapon. It's no longer a pseudo exalted. You can literally mod it separately. And just to be clear, she does have a few augment mods. I'm not going to go over them individually in this video. I just don't need to, because in the end I didn't end up using them. I did trial them, but you know, there are better mods to be using. And her second ability, Splinter Storm. Gara's armor splinters into a maelstrom of shattered glass. Allies who contact the cloud are fortified against damage. So this is a damage reducer, but it also is a damage multiplier, which we shall look at shortly. And her third ability, Spectrage. Trap enemies in a carousel of mirrors, forcing them to attack visions of their true selves. Destroyed mirrors damage their attackers, as does the collapse of the carousel. And her fourth ability, Mass Vitrify. Create an expanding ring of molten glass that slowly crystallizes enemies who enter. When the expansion is complete, the ring hardens to block weapons fire. The ring draws extra strength from the health and shields of crystallized enemies, and you use Shatter Lash to smash the ring and send razor sharp glass flying. And we're going to have a look at all this in action ever so shortly. And now on to the modding. I'm just showing you in the background here some of the iterations I worked on before I settled on my final happy build, the SP build on the left. I'll show you in a moment the full thing. I like to just trial things. So we now have new mods and new arcane options along with improved companion synergies and mods. So what can we do for our beloved Gara? So as always, I started off forgetting that I need to survive on higher level missions in Steel Path, because that's where I'm at in the game now. That's where I have fun, and that might be different for you. So Gara will be absolutely fine on normal star chart with variants of these mods that you see. You can go really high ability strength or really high range. It just doesn't matter. You can throw a couple of augment mods and have fun. It doesn't matter too much about the arcanes. She will do just dandy-o. But when we start to aim towards Steel Path and not so much level capping, because I don't really do that, we do have to think about survival, and that means balancing out your ability strength versus survival mods, so sacrificing ability strength. We're not going to be having 300% ability strength here, and it doesn't matter actually with Gara, because once you see her in action you'll actually understand that her abilities work really, really well together, and her pseudo exalted is now an exalted melee, and it will do just fine once the combo is up, and I'll show you how to keep that up as well. And lest we forget, there are also Archon Shard options to boost up ability strength if we want, armor, or help us stack corrosive if we're proccing with our weapons, or we're going to proc electric on the melee with the purple shards. That's important because her first ability, like I said, is now classed as a proper melee exalted, and we're going to use melee influence arcane, which requires electricity damage. So they used Atlas's fighting method for all the pseudo reworks, and I have to say it is so much easier to understand and use now, and I'm really enjoying them. Okay, well, this is my final build. I will work on it a little more. I want to put Brown Redirection in, but basically we're talking about shields here. We want our shields to regen when they break. We want some invulnerability, so kind of shield gating. So Arcane Aegis is in here for the shield recharge chance. Arcane Energize is in here to keep us energized. Don't have to worry about energy at all. Between Arcane Energize and Equilibrium, we're absolutely fine, and Primed Flow, obviously boosting our energy pool up. Absolutely good, never run out of energy, all wunderbar. And I've put redirection in to boost up her shields a little, and we'll talk about the Helminth ability in a moment that also help with that. Fast deflection is going to help our shields recharge real down quick. There is a slight delay on it, but I think that helps with our invulnerability. Rolling guard is there as you dodge, get out of jail free card, that turns you invulnerable as well. And her fourth ability, when you're popping it, also you become invulnerable, and her other abilities reduce damage incoming. So she didn't die, she didn't even come close. She was really tanky. And let's talk Helminth ability briefly. And I think Helminth abilities again are personal to you and the way that you play the game. I like Nourish and Pillage, so I tried Nourish first, but I ended up not needing the energy boost that it gives you. It like regens your energy really nicely. And the viral, spreading status, I could use another companion to do that, and I ended up doing it. So I switched off Nourish and put on Pillage, which gives us armor stripping, which is really useful on Steel Path. And it also gives us a little boost to our shields, those things that we're trying to break and then regen and be invulnerable in between. And it all worked out just dandy-o. Now, when it comes to her exalted melee, Shattered Lash, this is the build I used, and I never changed it because it was fine. I think I tweaked a couple of mods as I went, but this was my Steel Path. And obviously, Melee Elementalist, there's a galvanized version I haven't got. Maybe possibly I could switch that out at some point. Maybe we'll see, but this did fine. And as you can see, melee influence is in here, which is why we want to think about using a purple Archon Shard or two. So let's have a quick look at those. So again, it's personal to you, and I may change these. I have put the purple one on for the primary electricity damage gain. I might switch it out, but basically we've got electricity on the melee influence. I wasn't sure if that would mix together well or not. I may change it, but obviously we've got a casting speed improvement. We have melee critical damage on the red. I think we've got ability strength and also corrosive stacking on the green. I would probably like 2 greens, maybe 2 purples and a yellow. I'm not sure. This seemed fine though. The Archons really are just a boost and a boon. They're not a necessity and you can live without them, so don't stress too much. Okay. And before we look at companions, we're just looking at the Narraman focus skull because that gives us a slower melee combo counter decay, and that is super useful for these exalted melees because you get up to 12 combo by spamming it, and it takes a long time for it to decay back down to nothing. So you don't have to keep spamming it. You can recharge it really quickly. So very useful. And I did take my Nautilus Prime originally for the Cordon preset mod because that bunches enemies together, but as I went, the Nautilus kept going down. I couldn't tweak it enough to stop Nautilus dying, and it got annoying, and I didn't actually feel like I needed the Cordon mod, so I didn't need to bunch the enemies together. It was absolutely fine, and you'll see why. So I did take my Hound. That was fine for a bit, but actually it was the Panzer Vulpefiller, which is what spreads the viral status, as you can see, and that meant I didn't need Nourish. I didn't feel like I needed it, and also didn't need the energy, so that's why I ended up putting Pillage on once I put my Panzer Vulpefiller on. So let's go to Steel Path, let's go to Lure Circulus. This is my little go-to trial mission to see where I'm at with a Warframe, abilities, weapons, whatnots. And let's look at order of operation. So we're on Steel Path, 200 level enemies to start with. And as you can see, I popped her second ability, and that's giving us DPS on the bottom right there, 425 DPS. We can stack this up, and I'm just about to show you how. It also is a damage reducer, so about 90% reduction in damage incoming, with 170% ability strength as it is. Very useful. And the way we stack it up and replenish it is to pop her 4th ability, Mass Vitrify, the big old glass circle, and that will replenish the second ability, so start it maxing out again at whatever I had, 27 seconds worth. And then you go outside of Mass Vitrify and you smash your glass circle with your first ability. There are 2 options with the first ability, by the way. And when you smash Mass Vitrify with your first ability, that's when it boosts up your second ability's DPS on the bottom right there. So we're now on 17.9k. Now it does drop off a few times because I was still kind of like trying to figure out what I was doing, but I got the hang of it eventually. And honestly, if you keep an eye on her shields and her health, they barely dip when all these things are running. And yeah, the first ability, you've got 2 options. If you tap it, it inflicts puncture damage to the enemies around. If you hold it, it'll inflict slash damage. And if you're popping Mass Vitrify, I think it just spreads it around even further. So I would pop the second ability, keep that running if I could. It's dropped off. You know, we'll pop it again. It's fine. At some point, we'll boost it back up. Pop Mass Vitrify, the 4th one. Wait for the enemies to come in and then smash it with my first ability. And I would trial and error with the first ability where I was tapping or holding it. It didn't make too much difference, but it was fun to try it. And I just pop Pillage now and again when I remembered. And the other thing about Mass Vitrify, this big old glass circle, it defends you. So if you're standing in it, it reduces weapon damage coming in. So if you're stuck and you're in a pickle, just hide in your little glass circle. By the way, if you jump up when you pop it and you fall down, it literally makes the wall of glass higher, so you can give yourself a better kind of advantage of being hidden from enemies that might be up above or in weird places. And I'm just gonna show you this. Oh, the other thing is her first ability is her melee exalted. So as you can see, we've got our combo up and it's on 11. It maxes out at 12, but it's taking a long time to decay. Look, and I'm not using it constantly. Obviously the higher it gets, the more damage we're going to get, and we can take enemies down really quickly by just smashing them with our first ability or holding on to it. And because we've got the Narraman focus skull, it just means it's decaying really slowly, so it's easy to stack it right back on up to 12 and just treat yourself and just keep it going. So I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to let you see the carnage that ensued. Well, this is so much fun, and I'm about to start spamming the first ability and holding it down and seeing just how high we can get the damage. It gets up to like 1,000,000 orange crit or something, so pay attention. So there you go, my darlings. I could let this footage just keep playing because as I was editing it, I became mesmerised. I remember how satisfying it was to just mash these buttons and murder everything. And I know the Torrid Incarnate has got a lot to do with it, but her abilities are keeping us alive. They're adding damage per second. They're reducing damage coming in. The combo meter is taking ages to decay, as you can see, so we don't have to keep spamming it if we don't want to. And smashing the Mass Vitrified counts as a hit anyway and boosts the combo back up. And I don't know if you saw the numbers, but it got up to like 3 million or something with her first ability, her exalted melee. Yeah, I know, very satisfying. And I don't know if you've been paying attention to her shields and health, but they barely got touched. Even when the second ability drops off, she doesn't seem that bothered. Do you know what I mean? Like, wow. I was actually really pleasantly surprised. So yes, she might be a bit of a forgotten relic. You don't see her much in the game. Well, I don't anyway anymore. But by goodness, she is a gem, a glass gem, and I highly recommend going and getting her. And yes, I probably wouldn't take her on captures or exterminates, but I could say the same thing about a lot of Warframes out there. They've all got their uses, and she seems like, I think you could probably take her up to level cap quite happily. Might have to tweak a couple of mods, arcanes, whatever, Archon Shards, but maybe even weapons, but you'll get there, definitely get there. I don't think I've ever done level cap on Steel Path. I have to try it one day. Gara might be my gal. Anyway, what do you think? I'm a bit sad because my Atlas and Oberon and Korra videos, you know, going down memory lane, just don't seem to do as well as the stuff like the new content that's coming in Warframe, which I get, I understand. The new 10.0, they're not interested in the old school stuff, man. Yeah, I'm sad about it. But she's got her place. She's definitely got a place in my arsenal. Anyway, that sounds wrong when I've said it out loud. Anyway, thoughts, feelings, and have we got any Gara mains watching or about to tell me that I'm doing it all wrong? I hope not. I hope you're proud of Coffee Barbarian. I was a baby tenno once, and I still am a bit of a baby tenno when it comes to modding. I'm not an expert. I flail around a bit, and then I have a tantrum, and then I shove something in and it works. And I'm like, oh, okay, what was the big deal there? And I learned very, 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 very slowly how to start surviving. And if I get stuck, there's always the internet to guide me. So I hope that I've inspired you, my darlings. In the meantime, please feel free to come to the Discord. We're talking about Warframe. We have a spoilers channel there, so we can talk about the TennoCon and the updates and the things, trying to be respectful. We don't just talk about Warframe though, no, we talk about all sorts of things over there, and it's just a happy, cozy, lovely place, lots of helpful people, voice chats going on, chitty chats, talking about food, talking about our pets, talking about life, you know, but also gaming, because we're all gamers over there. So you're more than welcome to join. The link is on my channel, and like I mentioned at the beginning, please consider dropping a like, a comment, even just a heart emoji, just an emoji. Any kind of interaction with my videos really, really helps, and we're getting somewhere. We're way over 6,000 subs now, guys, and really, if I had 6,000 views per video, I would be an incredibly happy woman, but it just doesn't always work like that, unfortunately. So interacting with the videos is really important for supporting your local little YouTubers. Local? You know what I mean. Anyway, my darlings, we're jibber jabbering. I'm just happy because I'm watching Gara killing everything and it's bringing back wonderful memories. Anyway, I know I'm very self-centered. In the meantime, my darlings, let me know what you think of Gara. Let me know what you think of the old school stuff, and let me know if you want to see a video about a specific Warframe. I think Limbo was mentioned. I don't have a lot of love in my heart for Limbo, but maybe I could educate myself. But we'll see. Anyway, my darlings, please feel free, like I said, to join the Discord. I really do hope to see you in the next one, no matter what it may be. In the meantime, my sweethearts, you take care now, and goodbye.